in it. For those watching on Channel 95, we're so thankful that you're joining with us this morning as we discuss the business of Acts and the good things that's happening here on our campus. With that being said, I want to open up with our usual customary procedures with the time of prayer. So if you can, I'm going to be praying in my faith tradition as you pray in yours. So let's bow our heads in prayer. Let us pray. Our heavenly gracious Father above, we're so thankful for life. We're thankful to be breathing this beautiful air that you have given us, Father. We know that every day is a gift, Father, and every day is present, and it's a gift for us. That's why we call it the present. So, God, thank you for all you're doing in each and every one of our lives. We pray that today's conversations and discussions centered around the good things happening here at Acts, Father. Father, we ask more than anything that you be the center of all things, the center of our life, the center of all that we do, and that you bring us a level of peace and joy that only comes from your presence and your presence alone. So right now we pray for those that cannot make it, Father, and those right now in our community that's dealing with health situations, where we know that there is many and few, but we know that, God, you are under control. You have all things under control, and we bring those people to you as well. If there's anything right now that anyone is suffering with in this room today, whether it be depression, sadness, or anything that prevents them from experiencing joy, I pray that you take those things away. So right now, be with us today as we can talk about your business. And Lord, bless us in every single way. We ask this right now in your wonderful, glorious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Okay, so can you hear me? Is that loud enough? Okay. So I just wanted to point out, and then I'm going to shut the computer off, that we have a new logo. And the prior logo had Acts, and then below Acts it said Retirement Life Communities. They took the Retirement Life Communities off, and just the new logo has Acts, and then our name, and then where loving kindness lives. So not that any of us would probably notice the difference, but it's just a marketing change, and all of the campuses will have a similar logo, and then the corporate logo will just say Acts, and then where loving kindness lives. So that's just a change that occurred, and just wanted to share. I'd like to invite Darren to come up. We're going to share some things that are happening in the culinary department.
Good morning. I like that. Good morning. Good morning. Again, we'd like to share some exciting culinary and life engagement opportunity that will be taking place in the future that we have in the horizon. One of them, to start, is the celebration of the 149 Kentucky Derby on May 6th. We will be serving mac juleps in the main clubhouse while streaming the race on television on that day. So if you're interested, come down to the lobby, and we will be having some treats for you down there as well. In addition to that, we have, beginning in June, we're going to start doing our pop-up restaurants in the Wheaton room again. So that's new and exciting for many residents that haven't been through that experience. It's really good. There will be no upcharge for that dinner. And our first pop-up restaurant will be an Italian in nature. Okay, so that's really good for those of you who likes Italian food. The menu will be a set menu, so there will be no change in the courses. So we will send out more information on that in the future. Also in June, we'll be hosting anniversary lunches where residents will be invited based on the month that they move into Edgewater, or on the month that you close your financial entrance fee, whichever is first. The anniversary lunch will also have a set menu, and residents will not be able to attend a different month. It has to be in that month by invitation. Finally, in the works, we have a wedding event completed with a delicious meal, music, dancing, and all the element of tying a knot. It's going to be really exciting. We, we don't know. The question was, who's the bride? And we don't know yet. Okay? But for anybody that wants to renew their vow, how about that? And now that COVID-19 is more manageable for us, we, Culinary and Life Engagement, hope to enhance your dining experience. Okay? Thank you very much. Sorry. One last thing, as a reminder, I just want to remind residents that the green containers that you use, for those of you who do takeouts, those green containers need to be returned back to Culinary. We have some bins that are being put in the laundry room, in the hallways, by the elevator. So we need your help assisting us to returning those containers. For those of you who can't, residents that can't, just give me a call and I'll have someone pick them up from you. But for the most part, I need you all to help us by returning those containers to Culinary and not leaving them in the hallway. Questions? Mac. It's gonna be okay. Yes. So how we're planning on doing that is we're going to put out invitation day by day. So it's going to be on a first come first basis. As the day fill ups, we're going to put out another day so people can, depends on the correct. Okay? We hope to run that for a week, give or take. The question was, do I have anything planned for Memorial Day? And the answer is yes. More detail to come. More detail to come. All right? Any other questions? Mother's Day. For Mother's Day, we're going to be doing a brunch. Okay? A nice upscale brunch in the dining room restaurant. Any other questions? Absolutely. The question is, can we wear a Kentucky special hat? And the answer is yes. Dress accordingly. Yes. Yes. The question is, on the pop-up nights, are we going to have a limit on how many people can attend in a night? And the answer is yes. We're doing it in the Wheaton room, so it's small and intimate. We don't have the exact limit now, but more detail to come. And we will add more nights so everyone can attend. Any other questions for me? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darren. I'm so happy that COVID is now manageable because, ACTS has the ability to add additional special events and items back so that we can get back to normal life. And so we're happy we've turned that corner and looking forward to celebrating life with all of you. At this time, I'm going to ask Elliot if he could come up. He wanted to share some news with you. Do we have another mic?
Thank you. Hello? Okay? Okay. I want to introduce myself for those who don't know me. My name is Elliot Rappaport, and I sometimes go by the name of Beverly's husband. I'm here from the Residents Workshop. I want to talk a little bit about the Residents Workshop. For those of you that don't know where it is, it's about 20 feet from the double elevator going to the medical facility, right across from the exit to the, what it's called, the manager's parking lot or uh, ambulance entrance right across from that. It's available for all residents. That doesn't mean you can just walk in, but you can get access if you know how to work safely. There are a lot of power tools. If you know how to work them safely, see Marty for access to it. There are a number, in addition to individuals who can go in and do work there, and I have no idea of who does come in, but there have been a number of volunteers over the years. Many of you are familiar with Nick and Hugo, and now Jacob has added to the list of people who volunteer to do repair work for residents. The kind of repairs that are done are walkers, small lamps, appliances even, and replacing of watch batteries. There are no hours. It's whenever you can find us. By the way, I'm not a repairman. I'm a woodworker. I make things. I don't necessarily repair. There's some small things that I can do. If you utilize the services of the volunteers and you want to show your appreciation, you can donate to the workshop, and there's a box there for donations. And we use the donations to buy supplies that are used by the workshop: saw blades, sanding discs, paint, glue, light bulbs, watch batteries. And mentioning those last two items, I want to say I have seen there are a couple of boxes of light bulbs and batteries that I believe have not been used as long as I've been here in 2 years. Some of them, most of them are specialty lamps. I don't know about the batteries, but if you have the need for it, drop in and see what you can do. I don't know how to open a watch to replace a battery, but I believe there are others that can. Now, why am I here? I want to talk about the donations. Over the years, the amount of money that has come in as donations has exceeded the amount of our expenses. And so we want to return some of that money back to Edgewater. In that light, I have a check here in the amount of $300 made out to the Edgewater Scholarship Fund.
Thank you so much, and I will make sure the Scholarship Fund Committee gets this. Thank you. Okay, so that's a nice gift. Thank you. I wanted to switch gears and talk about our ACTS Signature Experience Team Player of the Month. And as you may recall, we started back up last month acknowledging team members who go above and beyond. And Melissa was our first team member. She works in Willowbrook Court. If you remember, I introduced her not in person, but as the Team Player of the Month. Well, I'm pleased to share with you that DeAndre Carr has been recognized as the April Team Player of the Month. He's been with us almost 5 years, 4 years and 10 months to be exact. And while he's been working in culinary, DeAndre advanced to a team leader position and as a trainer. His hard work and dedication to the department is evident. He's embodied the ACTS loving kindness philosophy, and he is considered the face of the bistro. So when you go through the line, you are greeted by DeAndre. He also bridges the back of the house to the front of the house for us, and he's just a breath of fresh air. He has a welcoming smile that lights up the room, and our residents and staff look forward to seeing DeAndre, whether it's at lunch or dinner. So it's with immense pleasure that I announce DeAndre as the Team Player of the Month. I have 2 employee updates. We're trying to stop using the word employee, and it's hard, old habits are hard to break. We're trying to refer to employees as team members because it's truly a team. And so I want to share 2 team member position updates. Our first is the Willowbrook Court Director of Nursing position. We have hired Shirley Walm as our new Director of Nursing for Willowbrook Court. She will begin next week. She will be oriented with Melissa, our nursing home administrator. And Shirley comes to us with more than a decade of nursing experience, serving in a variety of roles, including ADON, which is Assistant Director of Nursing. She's been a Director of Nursing as well. And most recently, she served in a regional capacity for another organization as the infection preventionist. So she has a lot of different background skills that she brings to the table, and we're looking forward to her arrival. So she'll be here next week. If you see an unfamiliar face, please stop and welcome Shirley to our campus. The Director of Assisted Living position is open, and we are very, very close in making an offer for the position. We've completed our interviews, and we're just ironing out the offer. And once we have that ironed out, we will be making a formal offer to one of the applicants, and then after that, we will announce the person who's being offered that position. So more to come on that role. Today we have a Oak Bridge Terrace open house, and that is from 2 to 4. And anyone who's interested in touring Oak Bridge Terrace, seeing what it's all about, please go up to OBT between the hours of 2 and 4. You can come at your leisure. And I'm looking at Helene. I think there's food, correct? Okay, there's food. Okay, because I know you're probably. Will you be up there for part of it? You're always up there. That's why I looked at you for crepes. Oh, thank you, Sally. Thank you. There'll be crepes served. So come up, check it out, and many people don't necessarily go up to Oak Bridge Terrace, and we'd love for you to come up. We'd love to have volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering either in Willowbrook Court or Oak Bridge Terrace, come check out OBT today. I wanted to talk about the wellness clinic, and we're going to be making some changes with the wellness clinic. When we added the nurse practitioner, the clinic was and is designed to model more of a primary care office, such as a traditional physician's office, where you would call and make an appointment and come down for the appointment. But what we have done here at Edgewater is we've had open hours and appointment hours at the same time, and that leads to dissatisfaction. Because you can imagine if Mrs. Jones, for example, calls and makes an appointment for 2 o'clock and she arrives on time and she's waiting because there's all these walk-ins ahead of her, then there's dissatisfaction. Conversely, if when she arrives, Mrs. Jones is seen, but the walk-in residents have been sitting there for a while and they see a person show up and is seen right away, the walk-in residents are also upset. So we want to change that, and we'll have walk-in hours, and then we'll also have clinic hours that you by appointment. So that when you come, and if you come during walk-in hours, you'll be seen quicker, or if you have an appointment, you'll be seen quicker. So the idea is to make it more efficient. We are going to do this quickly or do this soon. Once we have our new wellness nurse in place, we'll go ahead and send out a letter explaining it. Now, of course, if you have an emergency, you could call down and say, I have this issue going on, could I come right down? And then we could say yes, or perhaps we could handle it over the phone, depending on what that emergency is. So we're not saying if you have an emergency that you can't get to us. We're just saying that the normal walk-in scenarios, we want to actually have a better flow of traffic. Any suggestions or questions on that topic, since that's a change? Jane? The question is, are we expanding the wellness clinic? At this point, there are no plans, and I'm looking at Ross because he might know that there's been recent talk that I'm not aware of, but I don't believe there's any plans. Is that correct, Ross?
That's correct. There are no concrete plans yet.
Okay, so no concrete plans, but we will explore that option. Elliot?
I'd just like to comment that knowing that there is a set time for appointments, would also have walk-in, then the walk-ins know that there are others that may have appointments that will come ahead of them.
We could, but we really do. The comment I'm going to repeat because Marty is actually off today, and she said she would add the questions to our notes. So I'm going to repeat the questions so as she watches the video. Could we, knowing that there's specific hours for appointments, if you walked in during that time, you would know that you might have to wait. And we could do that, but we really want to, be a little more, restrictive because people forget what those hours are, and then we're back to the same situation. Yes, Jerry? We have the receptionist right now. The nurse position is open, and we're very close in hiring someone. So we'll announce that as well. Sally? Well, just on this topic, I want to go. So that question we can answer, but if it's not related to the clinic, let's stay on topic, and then we'll open the meeting up at the end to other questions. The rumor is that we won't have someone at the front desk, and we're looking at what the front desk should look like. We haven't made any decisions on that. Okay, any other clinic questions? And then we'll move on, and then at the very end, we'll open up to other topics. So I wanted to announce a change in our Medicare certification for Willowbrook Court. So effective April 1st, our beds or rooms on the first floor in Willowbrook Court are no longer Medicare certified. Originally, all of our 101 beds or rooms, we have less rooms, but we are certified for 101 beds. They were all certified Medicare. But effective April 1st, the first floor is no longer certified for Medicare. And so what does that mean? That means that if you are going to Willowbrook Court for a Medicare stay, and that's typically you have to be in the hospital for 3 days, and then you have to have an acute illness that would require either skilled nursing or rehab services. When you come into Willowbrook Court, if those two criteria are met, then you would probably likely be under a Medicare Part A or a Medicare Advantage stay if you have a Medicare replacement insurance product. So when you come into Willowbrook Court, we would have you go to the third floor for that stay. And the idea is to have a more Medicare specific area that we would be able to provide care for the residents. Now, if, for example, a resident lives on the first floor, they permanently live in Willowbrook Court on the first floor, and they go out to the hospital because of an illness, and they have the 3-day hospital stay, and Medicare would be available to them. They would come back to the third floor temporarily until Medicare no longer is paying for that service. And then once they're no longer under Medicare, they would go back to the room on the first floor. And so, there may be a time for a loved one, spouse, friend that lives on the first floor to be temporarily assigned to the third floor until such time they would go back to the first floor. So we just wanted to make you aware of that change. On average, we have 7 to 9 Medicare residents at any given time, so it's not a lot. We have on the third floor 41 Medicare beds. So we have ample amount of Medicare beds available, and we, you can tell just by our numbers that Medicare is not the primary reimbursement for Willowbrook Court. It's the life care insurance that most of you have opted in for. Most of the time when you're in Willowbrook Court, you're not on a Medicare stay. It's only if you have that 3-day hospital stay and you require either skilled nursing or rehab services. Yes, any questions on that? It can be confusing. It is. The question is, do we still admit from the outside? And we do, but we are very selective in that process, and we want to make sure that we don't take residents who we couldn't care for properly, of course, and then we are selective because of beds. So we want to make sure we always have sufficient bed availability for residents who live on campus. So, but we do accept from the outside, and we want to be a part of the larger community and provide care as well to outside admissions. Sometimes they become residents down the road. So it's, it's part of us giving back to the community at large, but we do that very selectively. Okay. So every year, the Agency for Healthcare Administration comes in and they conduct a survey, and based on that survey, they will look at the entire Willowbrook Court, and technically, what they'll look, there's federal regs and then there's state regs. So if there's they'll look on the first floor as well. So if there's a regulation that we receive a deficiency in, which is common, very common, then if it's on the first floor, it would be a state deficiency. If it's on the third floor, it'd be a federal deficiency. And there's different outcomes based on there. There could be fines that are levied. There could be different things. So we would like to consolidate our Medicare beds in one location to better manage that whole process and to have one focus for our Medicare acute stays, if you will. It's a quality and also a business decision. It's making sure that our acute care, rehab needs are sort of managed more bundled, because there's also reimbursement, bundled reimbursement changes that happen all the time. We know that Medicare is changing how they reimburse. And so it just makes better sense to have that type of program in one location. Yes. It does not change the number of hours that a resident would receive care. We have minimum care requirements, and we exceed those by state law, so we're above the minimum on both floors. So it has nothing to do with care or quality. It's just trying to pull the Medicare beds in one location. No, we would still, if there was a deficient practice on the first floor, we would still get a citation. They're going to survey the entire building, not just the third floor.
If you have a question, I'm going to ask that you speak into the mic so people can hear on Channel 95. So
I'm
just-
sorry, I should be repeating myself. Okay.
No, I usually right to the end. That's why I keep
Okay.
cutting you
And so there was something I was going to follow up with that, and I lost my train of thought. Well, if I think of it, I'll share it in a minute. Oh, I know what I was going to say. This is occurring across all of ACTS, not just here. So St. Andrews has already done that once, and then they're going to do it again. So they decertified beds a few years back. We just decertified some of our beds, but St. Andrews is a little further ahead. But they're going to also continue to decertify and have one wing for Medicare, but that hasn't happened yet at St. Andrews, but that will happen. Partially theirs is because they have Medicaid as well, and so it's more difficult to move people into one location for certification because Medicaid are long-term care residents. And so the idea is that they will, if they have incoming Medicaid residents, they'll go into the area that they know is going to be certified. So they're trying not to move everyone into one location because that just upsets the apple cart and makes it, difficult for the long-term care residents. So their issues are a little different than ours, but each campus has been going through this.
Sorry, I feel a little bit confused still. Now, so if people are going to, the Medicare people are going to be on the third floor. Now, who's going to inhabit the first floor then? How is that going to be filled and by whom?
Right. So the first floor would be either outside long-term care residents, our own residents who live long-term in Willowbrook, or it could be a short-term stay if Medicare's not involved. We're talking 7 to 9 residents, at one time. Our average this year has been 9 Medicare residents at any given day, and last year it was 7. So we're not talking a large number of people. No, it would depend on availability. So if the question is, if let's say I broke my arm and went to the hospital and then came back and I didn't have the 3-day qualifying stay, would I have to go to the first floor? No, it would depend on where the beds are, the availability. Okay.
I have a question about the EMTs. Are they able to get in without someone letting them in, or does somebody have to be there to open the door to let them in?
We open the door for them. So when the EMTs come in from the gatehouse, we have radios, and we radio either maintenance or security, and one of whoever's on the radio will say, "I've got the door," and they go to that door and let the EMTs
I
in.
have been there when they're trying to get in and there's nobody to let them in, and I've opened the door for them.
Thank you for doing that.
I didn't know if that was routine or if
No, that one door in particular by Willowbrook Court is locked, so we would go there and let them in. But if it's in a building, we would go to your building and open the first floor door as well. So we radio that, and Ross is going to add to that.
Thank you. So at the ambulance entrance there by Willowbrook where the elevators are, there is also a doorbell that they can ring, and it goes to the front desk. And at the front desk, we have the ability to push a button, which will automatically open those doors. For the rest of our buildings, we have what is called a Knox box, and you'll see there's a metal key box located outside of each of the entrances. The fire department has the key for all of those Knox boxes, so in the event of a real emergency where they needed to get in, they could access the key that way.
And they would not wait for us to open that door. If there was a fire alarm and someone's not there to open them, they're going to open it with that box.
Correct. And then actually, even to go one step further, for all of Willowbrook Court and OBT, if the fire alarm goes off, every single exit door lock becomes unlocked.
Thank you, Ross. Okay, I'm going to move to Sally. We'll take one more question on this topic, and then we'll move to the next topic.
Am I correct in saying that memory care and OBT is not reimbursed by Medicare?
You are correct in saying that.
So
Medicare does not
Medicare
reimburse.
does not cover.
Mhm.
They cover some things, or
They don't cover for long-term care or memory care or Oak Bridge Terrace. That's correct. And that's in any building across the United States, not just here. Okay, I wanted to switch gears. A resident asked me to provide a sales update to you today and occupancy numbers. So as of today, when you look at apartments that are actually occupied, we're 87.6%, or 282 apartments occupied. When you add the 15 apartments that have either been selected or committed to, but the person hasn't moved in yet, we jump up to 297 apartments, or 92.2%. So we have about 25 apartments available for sale, and there are a variety of sizes. We request that you continue referring your friends and old neighbors or family members. I did want to touch on the referral process. So there are forms to fill out. If you refer someone, fill that out, and then we confirm with the incoming person that that in fact is the referral for that bonus structure. And if the person's already in our computer system, then we can't give the referral. So if they've come here years ago and we have them in our system, we cannot give that referral. There's many times where a resident will call the marketing office and say, but I referred them, but in fact that referral came 2 or 3 years ago, and so they're already in the system. So that's how we delineate with referrals. Okay. Capital projects, I wanted to talk about Building A renovations. So the check has been issued for the furniture for Building A. Once the payment is cleared through City Furniture, they will release the delivery, and within a week of that, we should have the furniture. So very shortly, we should see the delivery of the furniture for Building A. Some residents asked about the lobby in Building A as well, and there are plans to build out the closet. As you walk in Building A, on the right-hand side, there's 2 doors, and behind that is a small closet, and then behind that is the elevator closet for the equipment. So if we need to do something with the elevator, it's in that area. We're going to be building out that closet, and then the luggage racks would go in there as well. So that will be updated. And then the trash receptacle that's in Building A, that should be updated as well. Okay, elevators. We have received the quotes for Building A and the administration elevator to replace and modernize those elevators. The PO was issued, and ThyssenKrupp, our elevator company, is working on a schedule to come out and actually make those changes. And that'll likely happen in May. So Ross will be working with them on those dates, and we'll let you know if you live in Building A, or the elevator that's here in the clubhouse also will be updated. The Building A stairwells will also have new carpet installed, so we're working on selecting that carpet, so that's going to take place shortly. We have a new rehab, independent living rehab gym being built. The company actually started last week on the renovations. It's where the old computer lab is located in Building C, and so that project started. In addition, on the first floor in Willowbrook Court, there is a space that is going to be used for therapy as well, and that's part of the project. So both the first floor C building, first floor Willowbrook Court will have new therapy gyms. It's going to take a while to construct those areas. The anticipated completion is the end of September. So more to come on that, but just to let you know that project has started. So the last thing I wanted to share with, well, I have two more things. We have a water shutdown next Tuesday. We have annual inspections that required us to shut the water down. You'll get a letter if you haven't already received it. But the shutdown will be next Tuesday, and there's specific times by buildings. The clubhouse will be from 9 to 10 a.m., Willowbrook Court and Oakbridge Terrace, 10 to 11 a.m., A building, 11 to noon, and then B building, 1 to 2, and C building, 2 to 3. But there will be a memo coming out, but that's next Tuesday. Thank you, Ross. So that's a window, and it's probably not going to take 2 hours, but it won't be shut off before the beginning, or and it should be back on by the end time. Thank you. Okay, the last thing I wanted to share is Meese Life. So we all received a letter about the affiliation with, a potential affiliation with Meese Life, which is on the west coast of Florida. And some questions were raised on how that works with affiliations. And I'm sure there'll be more to come on that affiliation from our corporate office. So I don't have a lot of details, but I do know that in the past with affiliations, typically what happens is that community stands on its own. In other words, it's not brought into our obligated group that we belong to. And the reason why it stands on its own is because we want to protect the obligated group. And so as we affiliate with new communities or existing communities, we then work with them to make sure they are financially sound. We implement ACTS policies in that community. And for that, we receive a management fee from that affiliated community. That management fee then comes to the obligated group, which helps to offset any monthly service fee increases that you get each year. So to have affiliations, it does financially indirectly benefit residents in the obligated group, which is what we are. But we always keep that affiliation separate so that if financially they come into troubling times, the economy tanks, and there's occupancy issues, that affiliation doesn't harm the obligated group. Now, how this affiliation will play out is unknown because they're just in the exploration time frame, and it hasn't been confirmed that we definitely are affiliating with the Mies community. And that's about all I know. But we'll, I'm sure, hear more as the affiliation talks continue, and we'll receive more information. Perhaps at a town hall meeting, there'll be more information given, or videos. You see, we get videos periodically, and so we'll share what we learn, but wanted to make sure people understood affiliation doesn't mean that they come into the obligated group right away. It takes a number of years before that ever happens. Jane? We do, and I should have looked that up before the meeting, but we do have some affiliated. I think there's more than 2, but don't quote me on that. What I can do is I'll include it in the minutes, what those are. So I'll look it up after and include it. Okay, so we're going to move along to the question and answer part of our meeting, and we'll start with Helene.
You know, there's an awful lot of construction in the A building, and I'm finding out the notifications are totally inaccurate. They tell you you're going to have a lot of noise on a certain day. We don't get it that day. Then you're taking a nap in the afternoon, and all of a sudden there's drilling, banging. I don't know who's working with the construction people, but I think we need to be notified about if it's going to be excessive noise on what day or what hour, afternoon or morning.
Okay, and we'll try to do our best. And Ross, I'm going to just share. I go to construction meetings, and we have one company that is our general contractor who sits in those construction meetings, and this is related to apartment renovations. And Ross is very firm with the construction folks, and when we get complaints, he's on it and he shares with them, these are the complaints. And hats off to Ross, because he really has a good handle on it. But if we're hearing that they're not following what they tell us in the meeting, then we can go back to them and say, hey, we received this concern at the meeting, and make sure you're communicating to us if noise is being delayed to another day, so we can then better inform you. They usually will tell us if they're going to work on the weekends, but a lot of it has to do with deadlines, because we have residents who sold their house, they have to get in, and so then we usually grant them the ability to work on the weekends when there's deadlines involved. Okay, next question.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. This is another one of those rumors, supposedly, and it has to do with the front desk or the lobby entrance. I've heard that security wants to be trained if we can get defibrillators in here that might be needed, and I don't know how true that is. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
So we do have defibrillators here, and those who use them are trained on them. Oh. And then periodically we have to check them, because there's expirations of different parts in the kit, and we have to double check, and we do check them periodically.
Thank you. I did not know
Okay.
that.
Thank you, Bonnie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Herb has a comment. Wait for the mic if you don't mind.
There's a lot of scuttlebutt going around because of the menus that have prices on it. And what they're asking is, are we going to the point system at some point?
I don't think current residents will, but future residents, there might be some type of change, as there always is change in culinary. You know, years ago, people received either 2 or 3 meals a day, and the market said that enough, we don't want 2 or 3 meals, so we changed it for the incoming residents, and you know, it changes. So Do I have a crystal ball when or if that would happen? I don't, but likely in the future there will be some changes to the culinary options. Buddy?
Always is ACTS still using Halloran for the resident surveys?
We are not using them. And George touched on that a little bit when we had our last town hall where we talked about the life engagement surveys. And those were conducted in-house, although there was a second party who did the tally, so that it was separate from us. So there was objective data collected. But the reason why we opted, number one, economic reasons. It's very expensive to hire an outside company to do the whole entire survey, and we're looking for ways to reduce some expense, all expenses, of course, but unnecessary expenses so that your monthly fees are, the increases are minimized. So it was opted to bring in-house. And then the other thing that George talked about at the town hall was that because ACTS is such a large entity in this arena, that a lot of the numbers were derived from ACTS. So we're comparing ourselves to ourselves, if that makes sense.
One more.
Yeah.
One more question. In B building on the 5th floor, B502, that apartment has been converted to a construction office, I guess, and workshop. And the contractors who are using it just painted the door and the frame around the door into the apartment with a new paint, and it's called Dirty Filthy Blue. It looks horrible. It's a disgrace. They also have put extension wires out into the hallway and had wires plugged into each one. So we've got 12 wires stringing along the hallway. It's really very distracting to bringing even guests there. I'm very embarrassed.
Okay, Ross, do you know any details on that? I don't know any details on that, but if Ross doesn't, he and I will figure it out.
I'll get back
after.
to it later, Ross.
We're converting that apartment to a new apartment. It's not an office. But if they had...
So that apartment is being converted to a new apartment. If they had extension cords out, it was probably because they had the power off in that unit for that day, but certainly should not have been a long term and definitely not in a way that would obstruct the hallway. So I'll go up and I'll check on that. Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks, Ross. Okay. Well, Sally, I think you were going to add to the Halloran.
I just said that Halloran, George Bryan mentioned that we were the major, ACTS was the major client of Halloran, and it didn't make sense.
That's
you said,
right.
to
We were
compare
comparing
us
ourselves to
right,
ourselves.
ACTS to-
Yep. Okay, well, I want to thank you for coming today, and we appreciate you. Did we do the raffles? We did not do the raffles. Okay, well, next month, I promise you, we will do the raffles, and we'll have a little gift, but we both kind of forgot about it because Marty handles that. And so we could do a number if you wanted a number from 1 to 100. I'll write it down.
Write a number down. 1 to 40.
1 to 40.
The first person to get the number gets the prize. You ready? Y'all excited? You ready? Come on, let's have some fun for like 2 minutes, all right? The number is here. Go ahead, Chris. Number. No. 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 12. No. 1 to 40. She said 5. No. 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 Keep talking out. No. No. 27. No. 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 What's the last number? Okay, I'm gonna tell you the 1 through 20. Ready? Go. She got it. Number 4. She's
Okay,
the
we've
winner.
got a winner.
Got a winner,
So
yeah.
see us after. We have a nice
Number was
mug for
4.
you.
Ms. J, you got close. You said 5. So what else said 5? I was like, oh, you're close. Number 4 is the winner. Thank you guys for playing. That
All
was
right.
fun.
Thanks so much, Barnabas, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Yeah.
That was fun.
So during COVID, we had 2 security officers during the day, and then now that COVID's gone, we only have 1. So he lost his position. So he's retired. So he's happy to just fill in. So he knows how to do the front desk. So he fills in for Susan. Well, that might have been during COVID because we were adding extra help. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
My daughter gifted an art talk tomorrow from Nova Stuff University. Yeah. And I don't know what technology they need. I know they're doing a PowerPoint presentation. Somebody gonna be on hand?
Yeah, I'll ask Ross.
Okay.
What time?
They're coming, well, the lecture's starting at 1, so I'm assuming they'll be here somewhat earlier than 1. I'll be up here at 12:30.
Okay, I'll let Ross.
Okay. We're having cookies and tea after.
Okay, great.
People talk about
Hi.
You and I have not been formally introduced, but I'm Gerald Evans.
Yeah, we met the other day.
Yes, I know. We met the other
Yeah.
day. Nice to
Hi,
see
and
you.
we met at St. Andrews.
We've been away for a long time.
Remember St. Andrews?
Yes, I do.
And
You
I
were-
was there
You
when
were talking with Judy while I was
Oh.
helping Irene move in.
Yeah.
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 Welcome
Thank you.
back to Edgewood.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Belatedly. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Yes, I'm glad it is.